Good day, student. You're welcome to 2018 examination-based conduct class. My name is Edu Triumph, the contact tutor for Computer Studies 2 for DES CS2 Computer Studies 2 Diploma in Secondary School Education. In this presentation, I'm going to guide you through on what should you expect in the forthcoming examination, meaning in April, August, and November examination. So there will be no other presentation for this course and all our courses, because we have one presentation that should guide you through in this year examination. Now, when you get your question paper, or what should you expect in your question paper? The question paper is going to cover everything in your course model. That's why I've written it on the screen. This is not a scope, but it's a guide. Now, it covers all the units. So Mr. Edo is not here to tell you which unit you must study and which unit you must not study. Study all the units. You'll be examining all the units in your model. You'll be required to answer how many questions? You'll be required to answer all the questions. You'll be required to answer all the questions. But in order for you to do very well in the examination, it's good for you to study very well. Number one, it's good for you to familiarize yourself with the examination themes like state, explain, differentiate, discuss, outline, define, and so forth, so that you will know how to use them in every examination. All these words, all these examination words, they are in your study guide. All you need to do is to familiarize yourself with them and see how you can use them effectively. Okay, now let's talk about the examination format for Computer Studies 2. There will be a section where you're going to be asked to define certain words, such as phishing, software, computer virus, memory, RAM, smart card, hacking, top-down design, graphical user interface, otherwise known as GUI, command line interface, known as CLI. Please, these ones that I've given here, they are just examples. That's why I wrote at the back, under, said this is not a scope, but it's a guide. But what do I mean in this section? It means in this section, you'll be asked to explain all these words, all these terminologies in computer. So you explain and as well as give an answer, an example to back up your explanation. What else should you expect? You're going to see a variety of compulsory questions on variable marks value, which requires answers of varying length and difficulties. The question will be based on all sections of the syllabus in line with the expected outcome. If you read this slide very well, it's telling you to better prepare for everything in Computer Studies 2 course outline. So, in this presentation, I have selected 1, 2, 3 topics so that I can discuss with you and guide you how to answer questions in them in case you see questions in them. So the first one is internet security. You might be asked to identify some of the computer crimes, some of the internet security issues, to identify them and discuss and explain them. As you know, some of the internet security issues or computer crimes are hacking. Have you come across that word, hacking? Hacking. What about identity theft? What about phishing? Have you come across this word, phishing? Spam attack, virus attack. These are some of the computer crimes or internet security issues that you should know and be able to explain them. If you talk about hacking, It's a system whereby unauthorized person is able to gain access into your computer without your permission. Then it's either he corrupt or steal your data. Identity theft is a situation whereby somebody uses your identity pretending to be you in order to have certain things done. Phishing, when someone sends an email to you pretending to be someone else just to deceive you, to reveal your confidential data or information such as password to him. For example, I don't work with Standard Bank. I can send you an email to you claiming to be Standard Bank so that you'll be able to reveal it to me, your password, your username. You see, so that email that I send to you is not from Standard Bank, but it's from me. Such emails are called phishing. That process is called phishing. When an email is sent to a user pretending to be someone else in order to get the user's information or data. Spam attack, viruses attack, these are some of the internet security issues or computer crime. Study them and should be able to explain them in your own ways and understanding. Let us look at another area known as data processing method, otherwise the operating system facilities. Have you come across batch processing, real-time processing, multitasking, multi-user, multi-access? Let me start with explanation of batch processing. Batch processing. Do you know the meaning of that word, batch? Batch, that word means a group. First group, second group, third group. So it's other ways like a synonym. First batch, second batch, third batch. So let's come down to computer now. Batch processing is when a group of commands are processed at the same time. When a group of commands are processed at the same time. The commands, the instructions, they are accumulated, then the processing takes place at the same time. Let me give you an example of batch processing in our country, Namibia, is the payment of salaries. Let's say, for example, on the 20th, teachers and police are paid. When it is on the 20th, everybody gets their payment almost the same time. A group of commands process at the same time. What about real-time processing? Real-time processing. In the real-time processing, the computer makes it possible, or the system makes it possible, that is, it has the ability to respond. Let me put it that way. It has the ability to respond to your question, to your inquiry immediately. That is a real-time system. A system that has the ability to respond to your question, that has the ability to answer to your inquiry immediately. Take for an example, take your cell phone, dial *131# with MTC. What happened? Your balance is sent to you immediately. It's displayed on the screen. Or you have $1 airtime left. You have $2 airtime left. You see, the system responded to your inquiry. The system responded to your queries immediately. That is a real-time system. All real-time system must be online, and it has the ability to respond to your inquiry, to your questions immediately. Multitasking. Multitasking. When a computer system has the ability to handle more than one task at a time. Multitasking. Multi-user, when more than one user is working on the operating system at the same time. So these are some of the data processing methods. You should be able to explain them and give an example of what they mean in computer studies too. The function of an operating system: resources allocation, memory allocation, backup stores, input and output management, security management. These are some of the functions of an operating system. Let us look at Microsoft Excel. How can you answer questions on Microsoft Excel? Questions that you will be asked on Microsoft Excel are questions like, how many columns and rows does this spreadsheet has? How many columns and rows does this spreadsheet has? Okay, you'll be able to identify a cell that contains a value, a cell that contains a label, and you should be able to use different functions like sum, average, max, mean. Let us look at one example. Here is a spreadsheet question. I can give you this in an examination. As you can see, the spreadsheet, talking about Microsoft Excel, and ask you the following question. Name one type of formatting done on the above spreadsheet. Let's go back to the spreadsheet now. One type of formatting that has been done on this spreadsheet. If you look at my currency here, they are having 2 decimal places. Can you see? 2 decimal places. That is one formatting that is done. Another formatting that I can also point out is that the US dollar is applied to my data. That is another formatting that has been done on the spreadsheet. Another formatting that has been done on the spreadsheet here is that the heading, Atlantic Primary School Windhoek, is bold, is in capital letter, it is centralized. That is another formatting that has been done. Let's look at another question here. Another question here is, how many columns are used in the spreadsheet? How many columns are used in the spreadsheet? How many columns do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 columns on this spreadsheet. When you count your columns, when asked to count your columns, please do not count this one, where you have this 1, 2, 3. No, your columns start from where there is alphabet A, column B, column C, column D, column E. So I have 5 columns here. How many rows are here? This is 1, 2, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and so on. So I have 10 rows. Then a question says again, name a cell that contains a label. Name a cell that contains a value. What is a value? What is a label? A label is where you have alphabet. Okay, a value is where you have numbers. So tell me one cell that has a number. Tell me one cell that has a value. For example, a cell that has a value is cell C4, because there's a value 12 there. This is also a value. 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 So any cell that has a value, just write it. C4, C5, C6, C7, C8, C9, C. You see, these are all values. Write any one. A cell that has a label. See? B3, B4, B5. Remember, a label means alphabet. A label means alphabet. All right? Let's take 1 or 2 more questions in this section before we move ahead. This is an area that most students always at times find it difficult, which is the use of formulas in a spreadsheet. Now, let's look at this question 4.1.5. Write down the formula used to obtain the value 60 in cell E4. Write down the formula that was used to obtain this value 60 in cell E4. Let's go back to cell E4. This is cell E4. Tell us, write the formula that was used to obtain that 60. How did I get the 60? I multiply 12 by 5. I multiply 12 by 5 to get this 60. So what formula did I use? Definitely, the formula you are going to write is equal. Before you write any formula, you must start with the equal sign. You must start with the equal sign. Equal, okay? Then you use the name of the cells. Don't use the numbers. Don't say 60, don't say 12 multiplied by 5. No, we're asking for the formula. So you use the name of the cell. The name of this cell where you have 12 is cell B4. The name of the cell where you have 5 is cell D4. So I will say equal C4 multiplied by D4. That is the formula, and that is my answer. So the examiner wants to see the equal sign and make sure that you have used the right cell and the right operator. Let's take one more question. Write down the formula used to obtain the value in cell E10. E10. Let's just look at E10. What is happening in E10? Where is E10? This is E10. Can you see that now? What is E10? Then you have to ask yourself, what is happening here? E10 is the total, the addition of all these values, meaning all these values were added together to get this. But what formula was used in getting this? Write it out for us. Now, if we are going to add together, what do you use? You use sum. You use sum. So, to write my formula there, I'm going to say equal sum. Open a bracket. Remember, I added all these together. If from here, from 60 to 560, all we added. So I started from here. The first one is E4. Sum E4 to where? From where to where? From here to here, which is E9. E9. Then you close it. Sum E4 to E9. From here to here. Then you close it. You see, that is the formula that was entered in cell E10 to get this value. Do you understand? Yes. I'm sure you understand. But it is not enough to listen to me. It is good for you to practice. You see, if you practice, then you get used to it. So go back to your to what you call it, to your student portal, download past examination question papers, and see if you can answer such related questions. Apart from Microsoft Excel, very compulsory question that will be there also in Computer Studies 2 is the use of Microsoft Excel. The use of Microsoft Access. The use of Microsoft Access. Now we talk about Microsoft Access, we are referring to database. Talking about Microsoft Access, we are referring to the database. And what are the common questions here? The common questions are, how many feed does it have? How many records does this table have? Then how to write a query and how to interpret a query. The common questions there are, as I said, how many feed does it have? How many records does it have? How do you write a query? And how can you interpret a query in case a query has been written for you? So let us take an example. Let us take an example. An example is this. Sample Microsoft Access database question. So a database table is given to you like this. Then you are asked to answer question that comes thereafter. So let's look at one of the questions. Define the term relational database. Well, I didn't put more than one table here, but a relational database most time is a database that has more than one table, that the table are related to one another. Okay, let's go to another question. How many feeds are there in this database? How many feeds are there in this database? Let's go back to the database now. How many feeds? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 feed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Every feed must have a feed name. For example, species. Can you see that now? Every feed must have a feed name. So all you need to write here is 7. Now, how many records are there in the database? Let's go back. Your records start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 records. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go to your question paper, write 9 records. Common question. How many feeds? How many records? What other questions can we have there? Here, a condition is already written. They want you to write answers for this condition. That is what I mean by interpretation of the condition. Let us look at the condition. The following query was input: number of hosts greater than 17, and remove host chicks equal yes. Now the question is this: using species only, write down which data item will be output. Write down which data item will be output using species only. Which of the species meets this condition? Can you see the condition here? The condition is already written for you. Which of the species meet this condition? Now, whenever a condition is written for you and that condition has end in between, that is, here is one condition, here is another condition. Probably I should write on the screen here for you to see. If you have two conditions, one condition here, and you see end, and another condition here. If you have two conditions, one condition here, another condition here, just as we have in our example, before that condition can be taken to be true, before somebody can meet that condition, before you can say, oh, you meet that condition, it means you must meet this one and this one. That is the word and is you. You must meet this and you meet this. Let's take for example now. Let's look at a species that meets this condition. At the same time, it meets this condition. Number of hosts must be greater than 7. Let's go back to our table now. Species now. Number of hosts. Look at our title that we see number of hosts, number of hosts, number of hosts. Number of hosts, yes. Let's see. Yeah, here is number of hosts. Number of hosts. Now, on that number of hosts, which species is greater than 17? Which species is greater than 17? Let's see. This is 1. This one is greater than 17 because it's 18. Is there any other one? No, 17 is not part of it because we say greater than 17. Okay? 19 is another one. 25 is another one. So you can see 18, that is one. 19, that is another one. 25 is another one. But the question says using the species name. So you are not going to write 18, you are not going to write 19, you are not going to write 25, you are going to write the species name. Like red, can see clearly here, red-chested, okay? Then you have another one here, Derek. Then you have another one here, class. Those are the species name. But do they qualify automatically as an answer? No. Why? Because our question say and. So you have to check if those species also meet this condition. We have to check if they meet this condition also. And what is the condition? Remove host chick must be yes. So the number of hosts must be greater than 17 and remove host chicks must be yes. Let's see now. Remove host chick, is it yes? Yes. So this one is qualified. Okay, 19, is it yes? Also qualified. 25, is it yes? Also qualified. So 3 of them are qualified. But if, for example, this one is 25 and here is no, then it does not qualify. So before you can say it qualifies, the species qualifies, the species must meet this condition and it must meet this condition. That is how you interpret written conditions for you. The very last question here is write down a query now yourself. This time around, you are going to write down a query yourself. How do you write down the query? Say write down a query to select which species number of hosts are less than 10. Number of hosts are less than 10. Now you go back now to your table and see where there's number of hosts. So you will now say number of hosts. Can you see that now? Less than 10. That is one condition. Number of hosts less than 10. That is what the question says. Number of hosts less than 10. Or, can you see that? Or, this time around it's not end. So you put or, it's not end. The other time it was end. This one is or, remove their host chicks from the nest. Remove their host chick from the nest. They do remove their host chicks. That is yes. Remove their. So you go back to the table. Remove host chicks. Can you see? Remove host. Here is remove host egg. No. We are talking about remove host chick. So you will write it also as the second condition. Sorry, this place cannot take it. That's why I'm writing it here. It should be on the straight line. But my paper is limited in size. So that's why I'm writing it here. So you will write now. Remove. Okay. Host chicks. Can you see that now? Remove host chicks equal yes. You put it in brackets. If it has to do with alphabet. Equal yes. Because if you read the question, it says remove their host chick. Yes, they do it. Now you see that now. Remove host, just like the way they wrote it here. Remove host chicks equal yes in brackets. Number of hosts greater than 10. Or, so read a question, write the condition. So these are common questions in Microsoft Access, otherwise known as database. How many field, how many record, a condition is written for you, you interpret it, or you're asked to write a condition. Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access is a must in your question. Finally, let us look at another area. System life cycle. Can you name all the stages of a system life cycle in an orderly manner? Analysis, design, implementation, testing, evaluation, maintenance. Whenever you see a question about system life cycle, you cannot tell me testing comes before design. So when you name them, it must be in that order. Analysis, design, implementation, testing, evaluation, maintenance. You cannot have implementation before analysis. So practice it and understand what each of these stages does. Analysis, what do we do there? Design, what do we do? Implementation, what happened? Familiarize yourself with the system life cycle topic. How do you design an interface screen? I can ask you to design an interface screen for a system. An interface screen is a screen where a user is going to interact with a system. If you go, let me take your mind to an ATM machine. When you get to an ATM machine, you see an interface screen. A screen that you use. From there you can interact with the system. You say, for example, insert your card. Then after you've inserted your card, something will be there, enter your PIN. You enter it. Another screen will come, select whether it is savings, current account, credit card, you select. Another screen will come, enter amount to withdraw. You enter. Another screen will come, you want to print a receipt. There is a screen interface. From that screen interface, you are able to interact with the system. How can you design a screen interface for a system? For example, if I ask you, design a screen interface for school, a system that can be used to register learners. If I am a learner, I come to register. What type of an interface am I expected to see? I've given you an example on the screen. Register student. Somebody can click on it. Is it to print report? Is it that you need help? Is it to exit? Is it to enter grade or print class register or poster? So you should be able to design a screen interface for me in April, August, and November examination. It's still on systems analysis and design. We have this very crucial aspect which is all about user documentation. You cannot design a system without writing a documentation for the people who are going to use the system. A documentation is just a guide for the user of the system. Now, when you talk about user documentation, what should be in a user documentation? When you talk about technical documentation, what should be in a technical documentation? Please, I beg you, beloved students, find out what should be in a user documentation and what should be in a technical documentation. Do you need more help on your examination? Definitely yes. What should you do? Get in touch with Edu. Call me on my number or email me. Ask me questions so I will explain to you more and more before the examination day. Don't wait until the last minute before you start calling. Start to call as from today. Ask me a question about your examination. I'll guide you more. I wish you all the best in your April, August, and November examination 2018.